I am not going to spend too much time on Jesus, Mary Magdalene, and the Knights Templar, but there are a few things I would like to bring up on this subject. Yes, Jesus, not his real name, of course, existed, was married and had children, and his bloodline still exists today. However, it's not Jesus' male bloodline that is important to the global elite, but the female bloodline of Jesus' offspring. Many families of the ruling elite claim to be direct descendants of Mary Magdalene, Jesus' alleged wife. The foremost task of the Knights Templar was to protect the Holy Grail, which was the bloodline of Mary Magdalene. They also had other, more overt tasks, such as safeguarding travelers to the Holy Land, but they were just fronts for the public. There are those who say Jesus never existed and is just a composite of beings who were born on the same date, lived a similar life, died on a cross, and was resurrected. This is true in certain terms, but that is just one way of looking at it. Jesus, as a being of flesh and blood, did exist around the time the Bible suggests, but he was perhaps not the person we think he was, the Son of God. In fact, which God are we talking about? Also, how much of Jesus' teachings are unaltered, and how much was excluded? Were the most revealing parts taken out from the Bible? Absolutely. At the Council of Nicaea in 325 AD, Constantine decided to put the Bible together. He inspired people to come to him with all sacred scriptures they had and leave them with him. Constantine found his abode overwhelmingly full of ancient text, cuneiform and other kinds of scriptures. And there was a lot about Jesus of Nazareth and Mary Magdalene, and the true story of the two. However, the Roman Emperor Constantine wanted a unified religion which everybody could follow so he could more easily control the population. Hence, he excluded the majority of the most important scriptures and decided to publish the less significant ones. At that moment, lots of true history was lost, although some of these texts have recently been found, such as the Book of Enoch and the Dead Sea Scrolls. But still, in the Bible there is a lot of valid and important information left, because neither Constantine, nor the rest of the Council of Wise Men understood what these scriptures were all about. Many terms were unfamiliar to them, so they thought they were not important and published them. Fortunately, this still makes the Bible a resource for the historian, to a much lesser degree than it could have, but still important enough to consider being one source among many. Although the religion of Mother Goddess had been more or less outlawed for the common people, and its secret followers on and off were hunted down and killed by the establishment, it never really stopped being practiced. There were witches who still remembered some of the procedures and rituals, and how to heal people with plants, herbs, vegetables, and fruits from the living library, but they had to practice their religion away from society. Some didn't let themselves being intimidated and still practiced the Aryan religion openly, but institutions like the Catholic Church chased them down and burned them at the stake, often just from hearsay. In today's world, little do people understand that the same institution, the Roman Catholic Church, which burned witches and shamans on the stake, practiced the same religion they condemned behind closed doors. Even now, the Catholic Church is worshipping Mother Mary higher than Jesus Christ. They understand the importance of the female bloodline. And after all they've done, Roman Catholicism is the biggest religion on earth. What a joke that would be if it wasn't so serious. The Knights Templar found something very valuable and stunning underneath the floor in Solomon's temple. There was a hidden passage that led down underground and ended in a big room which had been used for practicing the religion of the Mother Goddess and the Divine Feminine. This shows that the men of power indeed know that the universe is feminine, and rituals devoted to the Mother Goddess have been extremely important for the ruling elite. And why is that? Because that's of course where the power lies, and that's the key to conquering the 96%. Newer research shows that Jesus actually didn't die on the cross, and it's easy to find material these days, showing that he and Mary traveled west and settled down in France. And they both lived a long life and had children. I am not going to go into details about that either, because detailed information can be found elsewhere, but this is the whole thing with the power struggle between the global elite, who is of the purest, Jesus line, or rather, the female line. Now, if we think about it, who can Jesus have been? And who would have any interest in letting a, seemingly ethical and just being come down to earth and spread his message? Let's say that the Syrians wanted unity. They wanted to bring the peoples of the earth under one umbrella through religion. What would they do, and whom would they choose to do it? Well, with all we know, we don't have to be overly clever to figure it out. What are the most supernatural things we know about Jesus? We know he was born from a virgin and his mother was Maria, Mary. Who else goes under the name, or title, Mary? The Mother Goddess does. And who is representing Mother Goddess in the 4% universe? The Queen of the Stars, i.e. the Orion Queen. Furthermore, who was born from a virgin? Enki versus Ea, because he was born from an unfertilized egg. And there we have it. The Virgin is the Queen of the Stars and the Son who was born without a father was Ea. So, Jesus was from Orion, in other words, working for the Syrians. Ea as Jesus did a good job, he managed to get a lot of followers. Not so much during his lifetime, but I don't think that was the purpose, either. Ea's task was to spread a godlike message to the people that they could relate to and take to heart. Then it was for those who came after him to sort out what was to be published and what was not, hence the Council of Nicaea etc. And how do we know that Ea/Jesus worked together with the Syrians? Why couldn't it be that he actually broke out because he regretted what he'd done and now tried to set the record straight? Well, we know he was working with the Syrians because he was promoting a masculine god, he was a messenger for the patriarchal regime. And there was another reason Ea was chosen for the role of Jesus as well. He was known to be a great teacher, because he was the one who had taught the early, enhanced humans about the religion of the Mother Goddess, shamanism, and the sacred rituals of fire as Lucifer, the light bearer, bearer of knowledge. He was the best man to do it. Also, he didn't have the typical bad temper, attributed to the Sirian Overlords. He had patience, well, sometimes. I want to leave it with this and let the reader ponder it. Read the New Testament and see if the puzzle pieces fit together, I bet they do. Questions will arise, but do your best to put them in perspective and see if you can figure out how it's all connected. You may find it very interesting. Then I would suggest reading the book, Holy Blood, Holy Grail, by Bygent, Lee, and Lincoln, and you'll learn more about Jesus' life after the so-called crucifixion. If you want to study even more, look into Sir Lawrence Gardner's work on the Grail bloodline, the Dragon line, Star Fire, and Mary Magdalene. None of these sources tells the whole story, but maybe you can when you've studied them.